Hey everybody, David Henry here from LearnStageLighting.com, and in this video we're going to do the unthinkable. We're going to open the can of worms. We're going to dive in to tragedy, to mystery, to one of those things that I talk about a lot here on my channel, and that is, should you buy moving lights direct from China? We're reviewing this light. Okay, so let's cut out the drama a little bit. But the truth is, if you've watched Learn Stage Lighting here for any amount of time, you probably know I am not a big fan of buying lights straight from China. And there's a myriad of reasons why this can be a bad idea. There can be a lot of inconsistencies from their product compared to the ones you buy from major manufacturers here in the US or Europe. You may see the product change without notice. They may change certain features and not tell you. You may go buy a second one and it might not match up. There's the inevitable quality control. How long are these going to last over the long run, and do they have design flaws that are going to cause you problems down the road? And last, there's the lower quality components. How long are these things going to last compared to something that costs a little bit more? Another area where lights that are imported often struggle is with the safety certifications. And this really matters, okay? Because you don't want your venue, your church, or whatever to burn down because of a light that didn't meet electrical safety certifications. This is actually a really big deal. So this light on the bottom does have a CE sticker on it for the CE certification. It does not have an ETL sticker, which some countries like, and it sure doesn't have a UL sticker, which often is something that inspectors in the US may look for. Again, from what I gather, the UL in some areas is more important than other areas. The ETL being the most important, and the CE is stickered on here. I don't see anywhere in the manual that it says it's actually CE certified. So my recommendation on safety with these guys is, don't leave these lights on when you're not in the room. Don't leave these lights on overnight. Make sure you breaker them off or set up some sort of DMX relay, because at the end of the day, if these things burn down your building, you know, I'm not sure that your insurance company is going to be happy with the certification that's on them. Again, you know, if you're always in the space while they're running, then you would notice if they start smoking or heating up. But this is kind of a concern with cheaply imported products that, you know, I can't skip. When you buy something from one of the major brands, like even Eliminate or ADJ Elation, they're going to stand behind that. They're going to have the proper safety certifications, and you're not going to have this problem. So why am I standing here with my hands on a Chinese moving light? Well, I have a policy here at Learn Stage Lighting, and this is constantly open. So, hey, Chave, ADJ, Elation, Blizzard, anybody? My policy is this. I will review any light or lighting-based design item, you know, console, whatever, that you send me, that a manufacturer sends me, and I will give you my full and honest opinion. I will tell you what I like about it. I will tell you what I don't like about it. I will tell you who I think it's for. I will tell you who I think shouldn't buy it. I'm going to do no holds barred, tell you the honest truth, what's good about this thing, what's bad. So when Tomtop.com reached out to me, and a nice lady named Mary I was writing with, and she offered to send me this, the LED mini moving headlight 70 watt to review. And being that my policy is, if a manufacturer sends me something to test out, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to give my full unbiased review to help you guys and to help the manufacturer. So I couldn't say no. That's my policy, right? Even if I don't recommend people buying lights direct from China, you know, I can't say no. So let's start with the basics. What is Tomtop? Well, Tomtop is a website that does house some lights in the US. They warehouse them, and in Europe to ship locally. So this isn't basically as low as you can go. As you might know, there's different levels of getting your lights from China, right? A lot of us know that most of the lights from many of the manufacturers, till you get up in the high end, they're going to be built in China. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, China-built things are everywhere in our homes and businesses, and a lot of manufacturing these days is over there. It can be done well, and it can be done poorly. And that tends to be the difference between lower cost and higher cost items. So the reason why I usually recommend not buying direct from China is exactly that. I've seen so many bad experiences from people. Now, buying from someone like Tomtop that has a US warehouse, has a slight US presence, is a step up from buying direct from China. For example, if you go to a site like AliExpress, you're literally talking to some factory in China that you know nothing about, and you're working with them. This is the cheapest way to get done, but unfortunately, when I've talked to people who buy stuff from there, more times than not, they have quality issues down the road, either initially or a year or two later, and they're frustrated with what they bought. So Tomtop is a step above that. You know, a couple steps above something like Tomtop is a brand like Eliminator, like Elation, like ADJ, like Blizzard. They're a good step up from there because they're still manufacturing their stuff in China. Most of these brands are today, but they're having much more oversight, much more quality control, etc. So let's cut to the chase, David. Stop rambling. What about this light here? What's good? What's bad? What's not? Well, so this is the 70-watt RGBW LED mini moving light that is sold on Tomtop under the Lixada brand. And these have become pretty popular in recent years with churches and schools and other folks. So what's good about it? Well, I plug it in, I turn it on. This thing's bright, okay? So it's got these 7 LEDs, right? And they're 10 watts of RGBW each for a total of 70 watts of LED. And it shows, it's got a pretty narrow beam to it. I'm not sure exactly what degree it is, but it's pretty narrow and it's punchy, okay? When you first turn it on, it defaults to the 14-channel mode, which is kind of standard for a lot of moving lights like this. And so I appreciate that. And when we turn it on, that's actually when I see the first negative. Let's plug it in quick and I'll show you. So when I first turn this on, even with a decent shotgun microphone recording me, you can probably hear that the fan noise on this is pretty loud. And that's where I want to highlight some things, okay? On first boot up, the fan noise is pretty loud. Most of that fan noise seems to come from the bass, but there is definitely a fan in the head as well. Now, let's talk about the unit itself. You know, when we go to the front here, we can see it's got a menu, it's got a display, easy to set the DMX address and go through other modes. Of course, like other older lights and, cheaper lights, it's a 4-segment clock-style display. And, you're going to have to whip out the manual to figure out what everything means. But you can get the address set, you can get going. So let me unplug this quick. It features, on the backside, 3-pin DMX, in and out, and also a IEC port for power. Again, not my favorite, but these things are really inexpensive, so they're not going to put a power con on these things, especially not a true one. Looking at the unit itself, it's decently built. It's plastic, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna break when I touch it, which is a great sign, right? I do have a few kind of design frustrations / issues with it, okay? The first, and actually let me know in the comments below, 2 things for you here, 2 action items as we get along here. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to tear this thing apart and attempt to get the fan noise down quieter, attempt to modify it. Obviously that voids any warranty, but this thing's really loud, and if you got a bunch of them in one space, you would definitely hear it in microphones on stage, which is kind of a big deal. So there's a fan in the head, which I'm going to guess, I don't see any sort of mesh in here, any sort of foam filter that's cleanable, so any dust that comes into the unit is going to get all over the electronics. They're going to start to heat up, they're going to fail sooner. Also in the base, it's completely open. It's just, there's a lot of airflow through this bottom, but there's also no filter. And so that's going to be an issue, the fan being all the way here at the bottom. Again, no filter on it at all. And so, that's going to be an issue as you go down the road, because any dust that hits this unit, and dust is everywhere, and over time is going to get all over your stuff. Think about if you work with audio, if you've ever cleaned out power amps. If you haven't, go do it right now. But if you have, you know how much dust gets inside these things, and it cakes on the electronics. It's tough to clean out, and it's going to cause them to die sooner. When you buy something from a major manufacturer, it's likely they have a small filter in them, or if they're a really low-end product and they don't have a filter, at least you can hopefully stuff one in there. So that's kind of a negative on this. But on the positive side, just to get back to reining in the positives, this thing is bright. It is able to move and has a good pan and tilt range, though it doesn't move very fast. So if you start trying to move these fast, they're just not going to perform. They only go as fast as they go. They don't respond as quick as other moving lights, but they're really inexpensive. In the box, actually, let me show you this. In the box, you get the light, which is packed well within some foam. You also get an Omega bracket that can go on the bottom. So if you were hanging it, it would literally just come in, bolt in here. You can use the included screws, which have an Allen key on them, which is great, but you could probably thumb screw them in as well. And it connects right there. You put your clamp on, you're good to hang it, okay? So the good, the bad, and the ugly, David. Why should I use this? Why should I not? Who is this for? Well, I think lights like these are generally for bands and people in spaces where the sound is going to be louder. We're talking live music venues, bars, clubs, etc. I know some churches have bought these, and they might work okay for you, but I'm really concerned about the level of fan noise. You heard it somewhat earlier in this review, and to tell you the truth, that much fan noise from one unit means that if I had 8 of these or 4 of these, I would totally hear those in a lot of the mics on stage, which then raises the level of everything, causes you to lose clarity in your audio, and etc. But I don't teach audio here, even though I'm a volunteer church tech director and I've been mixing for 15 or so years. That's not what I teach here. But anyways, be concerned about that. It's just like, a loud projector or older moving lights that were really loud. When you start to add them together and you get multiple units and then lights and then projectors and other lights, the fan noise around the stage area can really start to build up and really become a problem. Now, I've talked to a lot of people who buy less expensive moving lights because you get a fair amount of fan noise with other brands of moving lights. Tomtop is not, and Lixada is not unique to this. And many people have modified them. They've gone in, replaced the fans. The units become much quieter. At the end of the day, these things right now, when I look at the price on Tomtop, they're well under $100, okay? You can't buy another moving light for well under $100. So when you buy a moving light that's well under $100, you need to set your expectations straight, okay? It's not going to be the quietest thing. It might not move the fastest. And over time, you may find that the LEDs start to drift from each other in color. Say you bought 4 units. In a year or 2, they may not color match like they do out of the box. Okay? Those are the big 3 things you've got to worry about. If that stuff's acceptable to you, and you would rather buy an under $100 light that may work reliably for a year or 2, may work reliably for longer, go and buy these things. Save the money, right? I'm all about getting the most bang for your buck. But for a lot of people, I would recommend maybe investing in something a little nicer. Okay? Some next level stuff to this is stuff like the Eliminator lights. And they've got moving lights that, their entry-level stuff's going to be 2 or 3 times the price, but it's going to carry a nicer warranty, it's going to last a lot longer, and it's going to have US-based support that you can call if you have issues. If you have issues with this, it's email-only support. They're not based in the US, they're not native English speakers. So, take everything I've said here with a bit of a grain of salt. This is a decent light. I'm not against recommending this to people. For $80, you can't get a moving light that's any better than this, okay? I'd recommend, if you're considering these, make sure the noise isn't going to be an issue for you. And also, just make sure you do your diligence. Think about the long term. Think about if this is going to be a wise decision. And set your expectations right, okay? These lights are not going to last as long as something from the major brands, but they are really cheap. So with that, guys, that concludes my review. They're right for some people. They're not right for other people. They might be right for you. The Lixada LED Mini Moving Head Light. Now, if you like this, be sure to subscribe here. Also, let me know in the comments below. I want to know, what do you think about this light? Is it something that you want to see me cover more on? Is there anything else you'd want to know about this light that you want me to cover in a future video or follow-up? Do you want me to rip this thing apart, show you what the insides look like, show you how to clean it, and maybe replace the fans? I'm curious what you guys want to know, and I will see you guys in the next video here on Williams Stage Lighting, because I know you just subscribed and clicked that bell. Thanks so much.